There's something that I've been wondering about for a long time, and to some degree feel like I'll keep wondering about it. Even approaching the question feels vague, misleading, and even elusive. Sometimes its answer feels discouraging, may actually be more optimistic than what is initially expected. First off, to get where I'm coming from, ask yourself this. Do ideas sometimes feel like magic to you? Have you ever written something and thought it came to you too easily? That it came without much effort or rigor on your part? Many artists, writers, filmmakers, and musicians have all been stumped by similar questions, dating back since antiquity. These questions aren't new, asking ourselves where inspiration comes from and where the source of creativity lies. Some ideas and concepts do feel like magic, like they were delivered to us via some undeserved and unearned medium. The most random things sometimes giving us a spark of inspiration that we never knew we had. This conduit of creativity often feels like catching lightning in a bottle and leaving us wondering, where did it come from? When that same bolt of creative energy suddenly vanishes, we are often left wondering, where did it go? The muse, coming and going, elusive, evading, and forever leaving us wanting, waiting for their return. This is the part where I provide a disclaimer right off the bat and tell you the obvious. What works for others may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for others. However, I will tell you the not so well kept secret that works for everyone: discipline. Discipline dominates inspiration. Later in this video, I think you'll understand why and where I'm coming from. But the short of it is that anybody can be inspired, but not everybody can be disciplined. You are the source of your own creative energy, not some Greek myth. And speaking of that Greek myth, I thought it was important to talk a bit about the beloved Muse. Ancient Greek mythology and religion named the goddess of inspiration, literature, science, and arts the desirable Muse. She is thought to be the source of knowledge that embodied poetry, song lyric, and myth. Interesting enough, there are actually 9 total Olympian muses. In paintings, they are typically depicted as ethereal women holding something associated with their faculty. As I looked this up, I thought it was interesting and am going to name who they are and what they represent. I apologize if I butcher their names. Clio. The muse Clio discovered history and guitar. Euterpe. Muse Euterpe discovered several musical instruments, courses, and dialects. Thalia. Muse Thalia was the protector of comedy. She discovered comedy, geometry, architectural science, and agriculture. Melpomene. Opposite of Thalia, Muse Melpomene, she invented rhetoric, speech, and tragedy. Terpsichore. Terpsichore was the protector of dance. She invented dances, the harp, and education. Erato. Muse Erato was the protector of love and love poetry, as well as weddings. Polymnia. Muse Polymnia was the protector of divine hymns and mimic art. She invented poetry and grammar. Orinia. Muse Orinia was the protector of celestial objects and stars. She invented astronomy. Calliope. Muse Calliope was the superior muse. She was accompanying kings and princes in order to impose justice and serenity. She was the protector of heroic poems and rhetoric art. Did I have to look up every single one of those pronunciations? Yes. But homage was often paid to a given muse by all ancient Greek writers, who often appealed to one at the beginning of their work. This continues even into our modern era. But perhaps the most famous of patrons to the muses is Homer, the author of the original hero's journey. According to myth, Homer asked Calliope to inspire him while he was writing the Iliad and the Odyssey. From that, she is typically depicted holding laurels in one hand and 2 of Homer's poems in the other. But how much importance do these figures of myth actually impact our writing? It's a bit of a leading question, but are they actually the source of creativity and inspiration? But more importantly, is inspiration really all that important? People often say that ideas are cheap and that it's execution that matters. Anyone can come up with an idea and anyone can have a great idea. But a great idea is just that. It's just an idea. Nothing more, nothing less. It is what you do with that idea and how you make that idea into something more than just a simple concept. The same goes for inspiration. If our objective is to tell a story, and if we use the analogy of a fire, the fire being our story, inspiration can be a great spark, even a good fire starter sometimes. But if we want to keep that fire burning, if we want that fire to spread, if we want it to keep the people around it warm and to stay, sometimes we're lucky and that spark catches and we get a decent flame, i.e. we end up writing more words in a day than we ever have before, or something like that. But what happens after? What happens the next day when the spark is gone? Inspiration burns hot, but not for very long, if at all. What truly trumps inspiration, especially to the professional writer, or the writer or storyteller who takes their craft seriously, is routine, rigor, and discipline. Inspiration may give you a great idea, but without the routine and discipline to harness it, that inspiration is worthless. Instead of chasing bouts of inspiration, your muse, look to improve your craft and practice writing, even if you're uninspired. There are plenty of techniques, some of which we'll cover on this channel, that are out there to help you get better and continually work on your craft. But the bottom line is that if you want others to take your writing seriously, and if you want to become a better writer, it takes time and investment on your part. And what doesn't help is waiting for inspiration to spark. There's no silver bullet or key to success. Trying and failing and trying again is part of the process of becoming a more creative person. Time spent on a project that doesn't get published or doesn't make it into the final draft of the manuscript isn't time wasted. That is actually some of the most valuable time spent. Everybody's heard the saying that sometimes it takes 3 or 4 books before your first book makes it or sells. Others get it on the first try. But what doesn't happen is that someone's first draft is their only draft. And that first draft was only made off the back of moments and bouts of inspiration. So what does this all mean? Why am I telling you this? But what this doesn't mean is that the muse blesses some while cursing others. What I want you to do is throw away the muse and rely on you. You are your own muse. You are the source of your own creative energy. Studying what makes us creative and examining the history of what we thought creativity was and the source of it is something incredibly interesting and inspiring, perhaps, in and of itself. Should we throw this hypothetical baby out with the bathwater? No. But we shouldn't rely on things beyond our control to make us more creative people and better writers. You are in the driver's seat and you control your own creative trajectory. Don't be discouraged if you lack motivation or inspiration. If you really want inspiration or need to feel inspired, look out the window for a minute. Take a walk. Listen to a conversation, but come back and open your word processor and just start typing something, anything. Because waiting for the muse is pointless when you are your own muse. Hey everyone, thanks for watching if you stayed to the end. This topic sometimes feels like a bit of a downer or a bummer, but I don't really think so. I think it can become a bit more discouraging for those that are sitting around or that are waiting to be inspired or feel moved by their own words. I think it's a bit more discouraging when you're on the other end waiting for inspiration to come, or you're waiting to feel inspired to start writing or working on whatever project it is that you're working on. I think that can be a very crippling feeling and lead to a lot of doubt and wondering what's wrong with me or my creative process. But I think at the end of the day, it's just about trying and writing something or anything. There's millions of prompts online. If you go to my Twitter, I am all the time tweeting and asking kind of questions about your characters, your plot, or your novel, trying to sort of make you think of questions about your book or your characters or your story that you might not have thought up on your own. That's all to say. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.